All right, well, welcome to the Nitty Gritty Podcast, episode 14. We're getting so experienced. It's very exciting. So today's guests are, I'm excited about every guest, but this one I'm a little more excited because you guys are still new to me.
Yeah.
Like my wife just, so before we get into that, it's the Johnson Files.
There we go.
That's
right?
her name.
People know
Shaun
who
and
we're
Nicole,
talking to now.
right?
Like who's saying yes? Who's
Shaun
responding?
and Nicole Howard, right? Is that the
Yeah.
last name?
Yes, Howard, and we go by the Johnson file.
And
No,
you go-
no,
yeah.
we don't.
We'll talk about that. Wait, Johnson. Wait, why did I say Howard?
I have no idea. I thought you were joking.
Can we start over?
I thought you were kidding too.
I totally thought
Where did I get Howard?
I'm just
I thought it
running
was a
with it
joke
like I would in an
because it
improv
literally
show.
is
Like, let's
Johnson
do it.
Files.
Howard? Okay. Yeah, I'm good with it.
You're like
Were
the
you
Johnson
serious?
Like
Files.
Johnson's
Here's
my middle
Nicole
name.
Howard. I'm like,
Remember the Mino prepping thing?
So my first question is, why not the Howard Files?
Howard Files sounds kind of good.
sounds like the X Files.
It's Nicole's maiden name. Nobody knows.
Fine.
Just kidding. So, yeah, sorry. I have no problem looking like an idiot.
Start again.
Should've
No,
done
we don't
with
need to
it. It
start
was a
again.
joke.
It's all good. This is what people like,
Said
right?
it was a joke.
So, no, it wasn't a joke, but
Okay.
improv. Right?
Yeah.
You got to roll with
Yeah.
it.
You
just gotta
accept
roll
it.
with
You go with it. Yes,
I
and.
have no problem. No problem with that. So let's see. It's been about 2 months ago. My wife, like right when the kids go to bed, which is like between 8:30 and 9, depending on how big a-holes
time.
they're being. She starts giggling in my recliner. And I'm just like, what are you watching? She's like, have you heard of the Johnson Files? I'm like, no. So I dig you up and just amazing. So
Down
funny.
the rabbit hole.
Just down.
It
Exactly.
is quite a black hole.
And for me, it is like wormholes are bad things. But so I'm just going through just ton of like you guys do your own videos. A lot of it's kind of about real life, right? I mean, you guys are basically having fun with like the
Real
kids
life
thing is so
situations.
spot on. Like watch
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Those videos.
Mom watch.
Watch.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I totally went down the rabbit hole. And then about a month later, I get invited to go to the Bachelorette finale with, Kim and Chris Harrison, right? And Small
Nicole's there,
World,
yeah.
Nicole Howard is sitting right there with me.
Can we change it to the Howard Files?
And
Change it
I'm going
today.
to start a Howard Files Instagram tonight.
It just reposts our videos.
Yeah.
There's gonna like videos of all Howards. So yeah, it was funny because Kim White started introducing me to the girls. Right, it was the girls trip. I was separate.
Yeah.
I know.
You
I
didn't come
couldn't
with
really
us.
be in the group.
You met us
No one
there.
invited me
been
swimming
there.
to the mansion or anything like that. Not that Target would have had a swimsuit that fit me. But yeah, so I was really excited when she introduced me to you. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like new fans of the Johnson Files. So yeah, it was cool to meet you.
Yeah,
But
that was awesome.
so yeah, we're excited to have you guys talk
Yeah,
about your
thanks for
story.
having us
You guys
here.
just moved back from Florida.
From Florida, yeah.
What brought you back to the motherland?
Well, I'm staying with my same company. My day job is selling veterinary pharmaceuticals, so I go to
Really?
animal hospitals throughout the day and, sell drugs. That's what I do. And so the territory here opened up with my same company. We've had a lot of interest in doing like more improv shows here, private parties, and I'm doing corporate improv training and stuff. So I thought this is a great chance to get back to where my demand kind of is
Right.
and have it be an easy move for us.
We
So-
were always flying
Very
back
cool.
for things. We do improv shows quarterly, and
Right.
it was just too much.
Yeah,
so.
between that and the private stuff, I think between January and March, I flew to Utah like 6 or 7 times. And so it was just like, this just makes sense. Like, let's get back
Totally.
there.
So
yeah.
what took you to Florida originally? Because, I mean, rewind your story from the
Yeah.
comedy side. You started at Comedy Sports, right?
Yep, comedy sports all through college and a little bit after. But then just getting married, graduating, had to get a big boy job. Improv wasn't paying the bills. So had an opportunity to join this company and moved out east. And then we were thinking we'd come back a year to a year and a half later after I kind of got trained up. But then Florida territory opened up in Fort Myers. And for some reason we were like, let's do it. Another adventure. Let's just go down and see what
loved it.
happens. And a 2-year commitment turned to 5 years and then beyond. And then that was about 5.5 to 6 years is when we finally came back. So
And that spawned one of my favorite videos, the Utah video.
Oh, announcing that
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
moving.
That was hysterical.
the moving back, will you
So-
take me back?
So Shaun I mean, you're both in the videos, but Shaun will do multiple characters.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people ask, is his twin brother on Instagram?
I know.
Like, no, technology, you'd be surprised what you can do. I don't have a twin brother. They were doing it on, Full House did have twins, so maybe that's,
that
I was going to
true.
say, maybe that's where it comes from.
That
you
is
think?
true. That seems like way too much work.
I know,
Twins.
right?
That'd be a pain. But yeah, so Utah opens the door in a blonde wig and a gray T-shirt with big, Utah spelled out in all white. And it's just like he answers the door for Shaun. It's like, what do you want?
Oh, look who came crawling back.
Came crawling back.
Interesting.
What was the line like? Hold my fry sauce or something like that, right?
Yeah,
when you
she
open
opens the door. She's like, the fry sauce is in the drawer. Like, yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very creative stuff. So how did you two meet? Did you do comedy too?
No.
No.
It's. You think I would, right? Like,
right.
I'm
You're hilarious.
No, we met at a church youth camp, EFY, doing.
Really?
Yeah, we were counselors there. So, but I knew him. I had seen him at Comedy Sports doing his thing. So I knew he was
you
funny.
had the rock star thing going for you.
Yeah,
It's
it always gets you a little
cute guy
leeway.
on stage.
Although I'm surprised it worked out because I realized very early on at Comedy Sports that anybody I went on a date with who knew me from a show, it was going to be a disappointment. Like, it just wasn't going to work
They
out.
wanted a show.
They're just staring at me at
they
dinner
wanted
like,
to stage
why?
you.
Yeah.
Exactly. They want a private show, and they're just
Right.
sitting there at dinner like,
Hello.
wow, he's so much more he's just having a conversation. I thought he was going to
Never meet your hero.
do something.
He's not like
Never
in
meet your
characters.
heroes.
It's so true. You know?
It's so true. I would imagine with comics too, because you hear that a lot. Like Ryan Hamilton, I've been watching him lately.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, someone
And
just
I
told
have
us
no
about him.
problem listening to dirty I just think he's hysterical.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the same thing. Like, you're the first, I look really friendly and social, but you're the first human beings I've spoken to all day. I've been in my apartment.
There's a lot of comedian introverts, Jim
Totally.
Carrey is super introverted. Robin Williams, we know, was very
Right.
introverted, and I'm not like to that degree, but people assume that you're just always on, and
Right.
it would be an exhausting way to live life. I just,
So how'd you get into comedy?
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I've always acted, and I've always,
It's like when you say always acted, like what does that mean?
plays
As a
and
kid.
things
Okay.
like that, and
Touched by an Angel. You were-
yeah, little TV parts when I was
Oh.
growing up.
Just
Famous actor too.
Just junior high
little
stuff. They needed a kid actor, things like that. But I used to make little videos back when you had to use the camcorder and then transfer it to a VHS tape, and I can only imagine what I could have created if I had iMovie back in the 90s.
Right.
It would have been great. But so I've always enjoyed that. But then when I got into college, I just didn't have the time commitment to put 2 months of rehearsals into a play and then perform it for weeks on it. I just couldn't do it. And so found Comedy Sports, chance to get on stage and keep doing stuff, but it's improv. So, yes, you need to practice and learn the rules, but you don't rehearse it because it's going to be improv. So.
Right.
Did you do any like improv training? Because I know they'll have like training courses that
Yeah.
send like, executives to, but like the actual like improv actors, will you go through like a training?
Yeah, most improv clubs will have workshops that you have to go through in order to make it on stage, and so the time it takes to get on stage will vary depending on where they feel like you're at, but you almost always have to sign up for some classes. And
What was the scariest part, like when you were getting started? Was it? I mean, I guess you were making videos before, so you might have been used to kind of putting yourself out there.
right.
But do
You're
you
talking
remember
about
your first
improv
show?
or
Yeah,
the-
a Comedy Sports?
I remember my first show and being backstage, and it's all these guys that have been doing it for years, some of them that are now doing my improv shows with me now. And I remember being like, so guys, are we going to decide like what we're going to do? Are we going to do a musical thing? Or are we going to like, and they're like, we'll figure it out when we get out there. And I'm like, cool. You guys know I'm new, right? So maybe like, give me a little something to go off here. But they were just like, you'll be fine. We're not expecting much from you. So just follow us. You'll be fine. So
We'll handle it.
that's kind of how it is. It's trial by fire. You just get up there and do it.
And was it love at first sight? I mean, when you started doing it, was it just something that you
Oh,
really
yeah.
enjoyed doing?
It was a blast. On my very first show, I had a lot of friends there supporting me, and without even knowing it, one of the other players threw me a total lob, and we were doing a game where it's called Greatest Hits, and you improvise songs from a Greatest Hits soundtrack, and he goes, I love this next hit by Aaron Neville. And I love Aaron Neville, and I've always done a little impersonation of him. And I looked over, he doesn't even know me, and I'm like, whoa, you just lobbed that one for me. That was perfect. So I had a great first show, and I was instantly like, okay, this is great. I'm going to keep doing this for sure. That was 2007, I think. So, yeah.
So that could be part of it for Nicole, huh? Because I heard you sing on a video last night.
Oh, yeah?
The Queen song.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Love of My Life. Yeah.
Did he sing in the first show that you saw him?
Probably.
Probably did.
He loves musical improv, like creating.
That's my favorite
musicals
part. The joke at Comedy Sports was always, "Oh, Shaun's here tonight. Oh, do we have a piano player so Shaun can be funny?"
Yeah.
Because if he can't sing, he's got
He's
nothing.
like Jed from The Bachelorette.
Exactly.
He has to have his guitar.
That's right. Yeah.
Can't even ask a girl to marry him without his guitar.
He did sing "Propose Me," so.
He did?
No, he did.
I
was like, wait, I did?
No.
That was the Howard.
Blocked that out.
Yeah.
The Howard. Oh
Yeah, that was Shaun Howard.
So what's it like? I mean, because you can tell you've got to perform, right? Like that's your thing.
Yeah.
Like you go crazy not doing it. So from your perspective, Nicole, does that get frustrating sometimes? Because in my opinion, this is just me. You can tell me I'm wrong. But sometimes when I watch the lip sync videos in the car when Shaun's singing, you can just kind of tell like, oh my gosh.
She's like, here we go again.
But you always make her laugh. Like you'll do something where
there's always like
I gotta push it till I get her.
We have this thing like it's like he just goes for shock value now because now I don't think anything's funny unless it's like what the heck was that like. So that's kind of what he does now. But
I think every guy can relate to that, right? Like
sure.
your wife doesn't think you're funny, so
You're not
you
impressive.
not
You're not
anymore.
impressive anymore.
Yeah. It's been too long, and that's what people say. Like, how are you not laughing? It's like it's been 7 years.
I've heard the same thing over and over. But that makes you work harder.
It does.
Yeah.
Pushes me.
It's
And
like,
then
if you get a laugh out of her, you earned it.
exactly. And then when I'm in front of a crowd, I'm like, wow, these people are easy. My audience is normally super picky and high bar I have to leap over.
That's really funny.
So I've noticed you kind of have like different themes with types of videos in the car and karaoke or, redoing TV shows with like you're the producer or whatever it is.
Right.
Do you have like a schedule of stuff you follow or is it just kind of as it comes to you?
It's as it comes, and that's the hardest part about it, honestly, is thinking what is the next video, because if we go 3 to 4 days without posting something, the messages start coming in of like, where are you guys? When's the next video? And it's like, people,
Even the day after, it's like that's
we're
been
a
long
2-man
time.
writing team.
Really?
Yeah.
I wish that happened to me.
They want daily
They want another
episodes. I
podcast?
wish I could do it. It's just, it's hard to come up with that much content.
Yeah, we have some ideas. Like we'll have like a running note on our phone of ideas.
Yeah,
but
all the half-baked ideas that we haven't made.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So how does it split up as far as ideas? Like, are you giving him ideas, Nicole? Or
So I will look for stuff that's kind of popular in the media, like that face-changing app to make you older.
Oh
I was like,
gosh.
okay, we have to do something with this.
for sure.
Yeah. And then he'll kind of bring the comedy to it. Or like I'll ask my friends, or I'll hear my friends complain about like the carpool line, and I'll be like, okay, there's something in this. But he'll bring the comedy to it. So yeah,
She's like my idea hunter.
Yeah.
And then she's like, people
That's cool,
people
though.
relate to this. What can we do with it? And a lot of times I'm like, I don't really get it. and then I'll get in the car and I'll be driving. And I'm like, well, but if you did this or that, well, maybe you could do something. And so then I'll come around to it. And so yeah, it's kind of a back and forth that way.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool because I think work, even though I don't know if we call this work yet, right? But I think you're on your way.
For sure.
I mean, I could totally see this
That
being
is
your
work.
full-time thing. But it is cool to see spouses like into it together.
Right.
Right?
No, it's
like you
been
may
fun.
not, Nicole, you may not be into like the comedy side or
Right.
like performing that, but you can see the humor and see how it would work for him.
Yeah.
And you guys come together. And kind of brings me to my next point. How many of the videos where you're obviously, it's a blonde wig, right?
Right.
Nicole's blonde. How many of those are actually, like the video we talked
Inspired
about the other night, inspired by Nicole,
Oh,
where
yeah.
like, the episode one the other night was really funny where it's like, hey,
100%
honey,
me.
you want to watch a movie? And she's like, oh, I just don't think I have a full movie in me tonight. Let's just watch an episode of something. And 6 hours later, like,
That
just
is
one
like-
more.
That's word for word our life. Like that has happened. In fact, So we were posting about our pet peeves with each other, and that is his pet peeve of mine. And then people were saying, that's like us in our house. And so I'm like, okay, I think people are going to relate to this.
It's so relatable.
Yeah.
You know what I think's great too is you always think that these little frustrations, it's like, oh, the person I married and they do this. And then when you post it and see all these people sharing it and you go, oh, so it doesn't matter who I would have married. I would have been dealing with this exact
Totally
same
right.
thing. That makes me feel so much better. I'm not even as bugged about it anymore because it's just part of life.
Right.
So where'd the wig come from?
We ordered it off Amazon. In fact, I think there's a Insta story from way back when Nicole opened it and was like, "What the heck is this?" And I think she Insta storied like,
were the heels
just
in the
got
box
this in the mail. She's like, just got this in the mail. Clearly, Shaun's got an idea coming, and so. I think the first one where we did the Sandy character was the fall one, which was our biggest one still, I think, or maybe not quite as big as the mom watch videos, but it was all about stuff girls love at fall. And that was totally based on, I didn't get it, it's all set
that
up.
was one that Shaun
like pumpkin spice.
Like the candles, all those things,
layers,
and wearing layers and all that stuff. And so
I can put my equestrian boots on again. I love the fall.
The booties, that's mentioned in it, right?
It is.
So that's where it started. And then in an improv show, I whipped out the wig. It was last Christmas, I think, and I did the character in a show, and the host was kind of interviewing me as that character, and he said, so, sorry, I didn't get your name. What's your name? And I went, crap, I've never named this character. I just post videos about her, and so I just go, my name's Sandy. And so now Sandy, that's the thing.
Now
and
everyone
so
knows it's
we've
Sandy.
got the hashtag, the Sandy Wig, I think, and that pulls up all the Sandy videos.
Okay.
And so that's where that kind of started.
People love it, though. Like, he did a show a little bit ago and didn't do a wig, and people were chanting, like, bring out the wig. Like,
There's just something about it because you got the beard.
I know.
And it's nasty.
And
it's
just nasty. But then you lay on the body language and the lisp, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so money. But the beard,
beard
makes it
just
freaky.
Yeah.
But it makes it so great. Oh, it's
no
so
attempt to really look like a woman at all.
You
It's
might
just
put
a
like
wig.
You might put a blouse on or something, right? But
Nicole won't. I even one time came down and she's like, or no, it was like a full dress thing, right?
Oh,
and
it
she's
just
like,
weirded me
no,
out.
too far.
we're not cross.
Keep it to the jeans.
Do the wig and the jeans.
You don't wear an open skirt or dress of any kind.
That's too weird.
No, what are all the girls wear now? What are they called? Like the one piece.
The jumpers.
Oh yeah,
Jumpers.
the rompers.
Oh, the rompers. Yeah,
Oh,
she would never.
You need to do one.
Amazing.
You need to do one with a romper with the wig.
That would be amazing.
So, what goes into like the production of a video? I mean, I know you can just pull out your phone and do it, but it looks like there's a lot more planning and there's a lot more that goes into it. So, walk us through like, what does a video look like? Is there days of prep that goes into it? Do you have equipment? I mean, like, what are you doing?
Totally depends on the concept. Some of them, my favorite ones, are just done. 15 minutes, we're done. I can edit it and it's easy, but I've done more and more green screen stuff with like our Shark Tank videos and stuff like that. And so that takes a little more prep. I've got some lights and, I don't have a nice studio, so I just tape up the green screen in whatever room has an open wall that I can use. So you just wing it. But it's all shot on the iPhone. I've got a little microphone I hook up sometimes if I feel like it needs it, but it's kind of a Jimmy rig it, make it work.
Again, like we've gone through a few of these now. And so the restaurant business, I always relate it to that because that's the world I'm in. Like I opened this place for $45,000.
Yeah, wow.
Like that's nothing for a restaurant. So many people think that they have to have things perfect to start something. And to hear like you watch your videos, you've got 40,000+ followers. You make awesome videos, and to hear that it's just a taped up green screen, iPhone, iMovie. Anybody could do that if they like.
It was iMovie. It was iMovie for the first 2 years. It's only been in the past year I found that the things I wanted to do required a more robust software. So I've been using Adobe Premiere.
Gotcha.
But even still,
totally
YouTubing
accessible.
how to do it.
Right.
I'm not trained in it, and so anybody can do it. Every tutorial is online for literally every little feature you could think of. So
every little thing there is. Like somebody was joking on the radio today about how to like cough something up the safest way. I think
Sure.
it was
Can you
Howard
YouTube
Stern
it?
talking about it.
Sure.
It's
Those
just
Why
like
not?
type in anything and there's a tutorial.
Yeah,
on how
absolutely.
to do
Gosh.
it. It's crazy.
That is funny.
Nicole, do you ever come downstairs and like walk into like the middle of a video? You're like,
I
what
mean,
did I just walk into?
Usually I'm filming.
Yeah,
it,
she's
so
become the camera
I'm right
person.
there with it. Yeah. I'm trying to think in the beginning if I was, but I think I've always filmed
I think
it.
she always has.
Yeah.
I mean, initially it was harder for her to see where I was going with it.
Yeah.
So we had some growing pains early on when I started to do the real sketches that required me to play multiple characters and things. And I'm imagining how that's going to piece together. But before we had a lot of these successful ones, Nicole was kind of like, I don't get what you're doing, you know? And so I was like, stick with me here. But now she's got, I think, would you agree, a vision of she sees it. She's like, okay, yeah, I can see the end product of this, even though it seems rough right now. And it's good, you know?
So when you do those multiple character, are you doing all the lines of one character at
Gosh,
once?
that was the exact question.
Yeah,
I
Oh,
was-
really?
I've
Yeah.
been wondering. Or do you do a line, respond to it, or do a couple lines, respond to it, or do you, like I said, you just
Right,
do
right.
one at a time?
Usually it's a wardrobe change, and so I just do them all the way through,
That's
and I
crazy.
think of the
It
different
is crazy.
That's
responses that
'Cause
I
I-
might give.
Yeah,
and
That's
I'm
really,
hearing him
really
say
hard.
it.
Like,
Yeah,
and
the way he
looking at
reacts.
each other.
Yeah.
And, like, there's so many little...
And watching
things that-
someone walk away when no one's there, it's crazy. He's very talented. It's like, whoa.
Those are the hard ones. Sometimes I edit and I'm like, oh, I'm looking at the wrong spot. Okay, I don't want
Right.
to do it, so
Are
I'm
you
just
kind
gonna.
of a
Like, honey,
perfectionist?
where's that dress?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
he is so badly. Yeah. And like, we almost, because what was one recently where we're like, oh, we messed up.
Yeah, on
But
that
then-
on that one you were talking about the episodes versus the
Yeah.
movies. I put down the DVD of
Well, now we're pointing it
Mission
out.
Impossible, and then it cuts to the wig. And then it cuts back, and I'm putting it down again.
Oh,
And so I don't quite set it down. I sent it to a friend. He's like, "You didn't actually let it go, so you're fine. It's a little not perfect, but you know."
no one would
But
have.
it-
But I was borderline like we should delete it.
But
We
he is
should
such
delete
a
it.
perfectionist. I'm like,
But then we
no,
had
just leave
we had
it.
like
Good.
50 comments 5 minutes in, and I was like, we can't delete it now.
No,
We're gonna lose all this
absolutely
traction.
not.
So I left it.
So have you
It's
ever
fine.
done a video all the way through and like, yeah, I don't like that one. I'm not posting it.
Yeah. In fact,
yeah.
it was a waiter restaurant video that we still hope to make. Maybe we can do it here at Bam
Yeah,
Bam
there you go.
sometime. But
Yes.
we filmed the whole thing in this little venue I had used in Fort Myers, and it just didn't hit. And so it was me being the waitress with the wig, and then sitting in the.
When you say didn't hit, like you just didn't feel it.
Yeah, I edited
Yeah, it
the
just
whole thing
wasn't funny.
together, and I was like, meh.
Yeah.
And I was like, not to my standard, you know. I don't want to post it. So it's sitting there on my phone. I've never used it, but
That could be the Howard files.
there you go. All the
It
rejects.
could be all
the
your
rejects.
B-roll, reject, like
Didn't
work
make
in
the
progress
cut.
videos.
I know.
Oh, that's
That's
funny.
it's
It could
just
be your
true.
alter ego.
Yeah,
right?
we can take a
Like,
second
look how
account.
far I've come to the Johnson files from the Howard files.
We just created a new character for you.
There you go. Yeah.
I think
So-
you need to do some Karen videos. You've been seeing all that on Twitter, like the middle-aged white, like rude white lady at the store, like, oh, there's a
I
Karen
don't
in
think
front
I've
of me.
seen that.
You
Oh,
gotta look
that's
it up.
the word. That's
Yeah,
the
just like,
name that's
let
used.
me see
right?
your manager. I want to speak with your manager.
Oh wow.
That's a Karen.
Oh, I'll
And I
have to
can
look it
totally
up.
see you doing some really fun Karens.
Oh, that's
I love
So,
it.
yeah.
Log it away. We need more
I
ideas.
know.
But
So when you guys put your shows together, because that's kind of, I mean, that's what you've been doing, right?
Right.
You had quarterly shows, and now you've moved to Utah to do more of them. What goes into that process? I've never done a show like that before. So I mean, how much planning, coordinating the different guests? I mean, do you have different people every time? Do you have a crew that always comes in? I mean, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I've got my core people that I've done improv with the longest, but we're always trying to mix it up and bring new faces. But at the same time, you know, using the people you're confident in to deliver the best show, I think is great. Because, I mean, look at Whose Line Is It Anyway? It was on the air for many years. Now it's
Right.
rebooted. It's the same guys. Even in the reboot, it's the same guys. So, you know, and a lot of the same improv games. So the beauty is it's different every time. And if you got good people, good stuff happens. But as far as the putting it together, you can probably speak to that. Nicole's taken on a lot of the, like, logistical stuff. So that I
Nicole's
don't-
in the show, right?
I like come out and say welcome.
You're the MC.
I mean, it's
Come on.
the most important
Give yourself
part.
some credit.
No, so our very
You're the
first
MC.
show, they made me do an improv game, and I was like,
You're like a
never
player
again.
coach.
And people say like, you need to be in it, you need to be in it more, but you know, I'll leave it up to him. It's fine.
She just
But no,
likes to.
it's
So do you
so
handle a
fun.
lot of
Say
the
hi.
production then, like the coordinating and getting
Yeah,
everything
flying
going?
people in and like, you know, setting up the meals we have and the photographers that's there and the videographer.
So
it's fun.
what is the goal? I mean, we were talking about Gary Vee earlier, right?
Yeah.
Us three. And so for me, it's new, thanks to Andrew. And now I'm kind of obsessed, but you mentioned earlier that Gary Vee was kind of what sparked you guys to like kick it into high gear.
Yeah.
So what's the goal? Like because of what you heard from him, like what struck a chord, what made you want to create more, and now what are you thinking future?
I think what struck a lot of things struck a chord with me in his book, and this is crushing it for those that aren't familiar with it, but a friend of mine recommended that book, and it's so many stories of people that were just, like we were saying, just bootlegging it or bootstrapping it, they say, right? Just making it work, and then Oprah reaches out or something, and you get these big opportunities. And, we had little spikes in viewership and stuff, but nothing we could monetize, because Instagram is a great, networking tool, but it's not great for monetizing if you're just putting out content. There's no ads or anything like that. So finally we just started going like, let's just start throwing these and see what happens. And the first show sold out, and the shows, the live improv shows, that was our first way to really monetize it. My goals with it became keep doing those as much as I can, as well as do corporate improv training, corporate parties, private events, things like that. And so that's kind of where it's taken us so far, but we never would have guessed it got to this point, so I don't limit my mind of what it could be. I'm just going to keep chasing it. I always tell Nicole, we get a message that sounds like a weird thing someone's offering. My thing is I'm always open to listen to it.
Right.
I don't know if I'll do it, but there's no harm in hearing it, because sometimes these opportunities that I didn't think were going to pan out ended up being something. So I always say like, hey, I'll engage in the conversation and see where it goes, and maybe there's something good.
So what do you do on the corporate training? I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
Like, do people fly you in to teach improv, or to teach like the principles behind it that they can put towards their job?
Yeah, it's evolving, and it's a lot of fun. We just did one for Comcast last 2 weeks ago out in Florida, and I've got American Express here in Salt Lake coming up next month. Cool. And the idea is improv's all about collaboration, communication, working as a team.
It's team building.
Yeah, it is totally team building. It's about loosening up and truly listening to respond. How many times are you talking to somebody and all you're thinking is what you're going to say back? If you do that in improv, it's a huge problem, because your partner is giving you this great information that you need to add to, and all you're thinking about is, how do I be funny? How do I add something?
Fascinating.
So it's all about, it can focus on whatever somebody wants it to, but the coolest thing I think is I've been through years and years of sales trainings at my job where you're just sitting there looking at a PowerPoint, filling out a worksheet. And this gets people out of their chairs. They're laughing at each other.
Are they actually doing improv?
Yeah. Yeah, you do exercises that kind of warm them up to it, and then I work my way up to like actual games we do in a show, as long as they apply to what the goal is. And, people are cracking up seeing their coworkers in ways they've never seen them before. Yeah. And then the people that are in charge love it, because they're like, man, and that actually had some great takeaways for us. So I think it's the best of both worlds. You get great corporate training, but you also have a blast doing it. It's entertaining and
build confidence too, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I would think as like a boss, right? If I'm a manager or supervisor there, you could kind of see leaders come out of it too, like who kind of takes charge.
Yeah, who jumped in and wasn't afraid.
And see people out of their normal work element. That sounds way better than walking on coals and like trust falls.
Yeah,
sounds a little safer.
Way safer. Maybe scarier, but way safer.
It's been really fun. I'd like to do more of that. That's probably the least developed part of my business, but just recently I've been able to set a few of those up, and so I'm excited to see where that goes for sure.
You had said you have other people coming in to do those with you, or is that something you're just handling by yourself?
I just mean we as in Johnson Files, but if it's a big group, I will typically hire a friend to come and help me facilitate. So if we split into little groups or something, he can go and do that. So I got a couple friends I can call for that type of thing. But
okay.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I remember very early on, probably around the 1,000 follower mark, saying to Nicole, I'm just saying down the line, maybe this could be a business, and I think she's worried. She's worried I'm gonna quit.
Off a business.
She's like, babe, you need to pull it back a little bit. Don't quit your
crazy.
job.
Even when we were going to do the shows, we're like, we'll just do one small one for 100 people. And then that sold out so fast. We like added 2 more. Anyway, so it's cool to see like how much it's come even in less than a year. Because now we're about to do one at the Cubby. Yeah.
When was that point where you both realized, okay, we have something? And did it come at different times?
It definitely, the different light bulbs for the different angles now we've taken with the business have been at different times. But was the first big one the Moana video? I think that's when I was like, dang.
There's a Moana video?
There's a Moana video.
I don't think I've seen
We were
Moana.
stuck in a hurricane in Florida.
Yeah, we're stranded in Fort Myers during Hurricane Irma, and our neighborhood is flooded, like full-on flooded.
Mm-hmm.
And so we didn't have anything to do, and we made a video with me as Moana going through the water. And I think the caption,
he didn't get sick or anything.
I think the caption was like, when your neighborhood floods the day after you watch Moana or something like that. And so it's like the water came to me. And that one we posted on Facebook, and it got millions of views, like more than anything you get on Instagram. And so then I was like, dang, that's crazy, you know? And so we just started taking different directions, and that inspires you, you know, when you see the response, you go, dang, okay, so we can make stuff that gets a bigger response. It just has to be the right stuff, you know.
What about for you, Nicole? When did you kind of think like, okay, you're not so crazy after all?
I think it was The Greatest Showman for me. Like, he did a lip sync. I don't know if you've seen it.
Bearded
No,
Lady.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Like,
We got a few to show you after this.
This is a great thing about finding people kind of late. Is I can go down.
They
the
built
There's
it
going
up
to be
for
a
years.
really
It's
deep
like
rabbit
hearing-
hole.
Yeah,
We're gonna go
it'd be like hearing about 24, like 6 season in. You know, it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
like pencil me
Which
out
I
for
still
2
haven't
weeks.
seen.
Binge watch.
What?
Oh, yeah. That's
Well,
on my list,
24
though.
is like the original binge
It's on my
binge
list.
watching show.
No, he did one of our car lip syncs, and he was the bearded lady basically to This Is Me from Greatest Showman.
Right.
And she reposted it on her Instagram, and then the Greatest Showman reposted it on their Instagram. And it was like, people were loving it, and I was like, whoa, we're like, I don't know, it was just when it was like, oh, we're funny to more people than just like our friends and family.
Right.
Yeah,
So that have to
because
think
there's
we're
a
funny.
video way back when where I dance in some tights to celebrate 500 followers, and
It was big.
like that was a big deal. 500 followers
Right.
on this new account we had created. We were like, oh my gosh, 500.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's fun. It's just
Yeah,
fun,
it's
you know.
fun.
And you have to. That's why I say like just be open to what's coming, but just work with what you got in the moment and maximize it, right? Because you can't leap from A to Z. You know, you have to, all those steps in between. I think moving to Florida, separating myself from my little comedy bubble here and
Right.
expanding my horizons, none of the stuff
That all
I've done
played a
now
role.
would have happened if I didn't broaden my horizons a little bit and just enjoy that journey. You know, the famous phrase, enjoy the journey.
Listen, don't
It's
get
true.
us on a bachelorette
I was
tangent
like,
right now,
bachelorette.
'cause we will talk about it.
Stay in your
It
lane.
is a journey.
Stay in your lane.
Biggest Loser and Bachelor, that's the word they use, right? On our
Yeah,
journey.
On our journey.
I
I'm
think-
on this journey.
Yeah.
It's kind of everything now, huh?
Everything's
Yeah, everyone
a
uses journey now.
Well, you know, another Gary V reference. It sounds like you guys are doing stuff that you enjoy, that you think is funny. You're not posting to get followers. You're not posting to grow. You're just doing what you love to do. And it's kind of organically happening. And I think that that's the one thing I keep taking away from the Gary V stuff is like, stop posting for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like post for your like give them what they want, right? Don't do something to make yourself look cool. Like give them what they want. And like it's you guys just hearing people ask you like a day later, like what the freak? It's been 27 hours. Where's the videos? I mean, that's huge.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a really, really cool and validating
It's like
thing.
a total double-edged sword because you're like, I love that you're saying that.
Right.
I have to go to work now, so I'll get back to you. You know, that's just it's definitely. I think from a comedy perspective, something I've learned over the years is improvisers that get on stage and try and be funny like the guy next to them in their style.
Right.
It never works. You have to figure out what works for you in, like you said, an organic way,
Right.
and just be you. And your natural humor is going to come out, and that's what's going to work. And so I think with us, we're just like, what we think is funny, what we think is relevant, and we get a kick out of, let's just try and find the right way to present it. And that stuff seems to hit the best, more than when we try and force a square peg into a circle.
Right.
You know, it just doesn't work. So that's what's great about social media. I think when people are authentic and just put themselves out there, it works the best.
People crave that.
Yeah.
They want real. It's just like the Howard thing. We're not taking it out. But they'll like it because it's like, you know what? I'm an idiot. Yeah, Johnson Files, and I call them the Howards. But, it's like, why edit it,
Right.
Because so many people do. They want to put their best foot forward. Like even the comedy you guys do, kind of poking fun at your own lives, right? Like your own marriage stuff. People all can relate to that. And it's hard. Sometimes, I think this is kind of what's genius about you two is it's hard to make some of that stuff funny. Because it is just kind of everyday stuff, but to turn it the way that you guys do and make it really funny, it's amazing. Because it's funny and it's totally relatable.
That's always the challenge with comedy, I think, is how do you not just reenact it as is, because that's not that funny.
No, right.
But not go so far that it's like, well, that was ridiculous, right? And it's a balance for sure.
Like after the second episode, you're like, honey, this is horse. Okay. You can't really say that on your videos.
No, not so much. We got a lot of kid followers.
Yeah.
That's really
watching on
awesome.
their mom's phones.
So something you guys
that's another good one you need to do.
that's talked about. You guys say you try to help people choose humor. What is it, in challenging times, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like your message to people, right?
Right.
So have you had people who have responded to videos that have been like, this video helped me get through something today? It's like this laugh, like allowing a laugh has allowed me to do something today that I maybe couldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah, totally. We definitely get that all the time, or just like, cause people's lives are hard and they want to laugh. They crave like to find, a light in their day or some type of humor. And that's what I think. There was a point, I don't know when it was, that we realized that like people are coming to us to have a laugh in their day and to be the bright spot of their day. And that also kept pushing us going, like, okay, there are people, including ourselves, like that have hard days and they like crave a laugh or to smile again. So yeah, we constantly get those messages, which definitely
that's
keep us
something
going.
I hadn't even thought of. That was a great question, because that's
Oh, thanks.
well, think about so we had the founder of Perk Energy. I don't know if any of you are addicted to that. My wife is. It's so good. I drink it for the taste. I don't get a caffeine anything from it. But the way she was kind of describing it, it's not just like a money-making venture for her. Like she's truly passionate about it. And remember when she was describing that 3:00, like I joked and called it like a bubble bath in a mug. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I'm going to take a quick bubble bath with my hot drink, right? Mm-hmm. Like it just was a little break from their hard day.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, what better way to give somebody a break than comedy?
Yeah,
especially when it relates
important
to things that we're all going through, right?
Yeah, I think there was a time where our videos started circulating through a bunch of people going through chemotherapy.
Right.
And that was a big turn for us in our message, because we were getting all these messages like, we watch your videos while we're going through chemo and all this stuff, and it just distracts us from what's going on.
Right.
And so then, that was not what we thought when we made it,
Sure.
but it started to become that. And we started getting really personal messages of what people were going through, and we're like, and that our videos somehow impacted these massive trials. And we're like, how? That's so weird to think, but now that's become one of the best parts. We get those messages and it's like, dang, well, let's keep doing them then. If that's what it's doing for people, that's awesome.
See, that's why the podcast is cool, because to see kind of behind the curtain of what you guys are doing and hearing that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because we all consume, right? And we want more funny, more fun. But you forget, like, I'm sitting here laughing hysterically at a video, but there could be 10,000 other people that like they're going to get through their day
right
because of what you guys did.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It's opened my eyes to, because it's always hard to see beyond your little world when you're busy,
Right.
and what the person next to you on the bus is going through or the plane, So it's opened my eyes to that, of just giving people the benefit of the doubt, because I've seen so many messages, and you look at their Instagram when they send you that and you're like, I don't see that when I look at your profile. It's all social media-y, bright and shiny, perfect, right?
Good.
Everything
Your skin
looks great.
amazing.
And then you find out they've lost a loved one, or they're terminally ill, or serious things. And so it just goes to show you don't know what people are going through. And I think people need to give themselves permission to just laugh, even though they're going through that, because you can only let it consume your mind so much. It's okay to just go, I'm just going to laugh right now, and that's all right. You know,
because one of my favorite sayings is you choose to act or react to life, right? And so when you're laughing, you're taking that proactive approach to life. You're choosing to laugh at something, right?
And not sit in your sadness. And
it's so important. Has there been like a moment that was kind of surreal, whether it was reading a review from a cancer patient or maybe someone reaching out wanting to do a collaboration, you know, like, has there been moments where you're kind of like, really? Like, this is really? Like, has that happened to you guys?
What do you think?
A retweet or some celebrity talking about you, maybe sitting front row at the Bachelorette finale or swimming at the Bachelor mansion.
That was surreal for sure.
The Greatest Showman thing was cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
What's the surreal thing for you? I got one in mind.
Not necessarily a celebrity, but I think just going along with the messages that we get. We met someone we were in Nauvoo for girls camp randomly, and someone recognized us and just opened up about her daughter and like the hard life that they had. And we walked away from that conversation and how Johnson Files had helped her during her time. And we walked away, like, I remember saying to Shaun, like, that is incredible that our tiny like Instagram thing we started, just like to see how many people it's reaching. And I don't know. And we get those messages, but to talk to someone face to face and hear about it was
to be so far away from home and have somebody recognize you
that was
and
weird
tell
in
you
itself.
that.
But
like always, I'd say hearing something face to face is always a little more meaningful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, meaningful.
Well,
that's
so
the right
that's way
word.
cool.
It's even harder as the person, like,
Probably scarier for them.
Let's say I was a fan and I see you. I'm like, oh, that's who they are. Like, do I go say something to them? Do I not go say something to them? So when they do come up to you and they do voice, you know, something that's happened, it's like, it's way harder. It's way more meaningful than just a message on the phone.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Takes more courage.
Yeah.
To hear.
That's a hard one to follow, but go ahead, Shaun.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that was very
It's
heartfelt
like,
one.
Ellen liked one of our posts. But yeah, that kind of sucks now. After Nicole, thanks, honey.
No, you know what was surreal for me, because the idea of doing the live improv shows, we were leaving Utah one visit, and we had not done any shows. We'd not monetized Johnson Files in any way. Right. And we were driving to the airport, and I don't even know what it was. I literally just had a light bulb moment, and I just went, what if I do improv. I know all the guys I trust doing improv. We could just put on shows. I could just rent a venue and do it. And it was so risky to me and scary to sell them through my website. Like, what if I don't cover my costs? And one, when we sold out so quickly and added another show. But two, the real surreal moment was when we got to Utah from Florida, where everything feels so far away. And people were like, there's a line out the parking lot. Like, they're all here. And I was like, wow. Like, suddenly the little follower ticks, you know, were real people, and they were there. And so
all those likes were standing in line.
Exactly.
Right?
And so it was like, this is nuts. Like, now they're actually showing up. It's not just clicking on their phones. And we just appreciated it so much. You know, if anybody listening is part of that, like, we're just grateful, because when people show up to support with something like that, it makes it so real, and it encourages you to keep going. So that was surreal for sure, and still is. I think every show we do, we're like, look at all these people. It's so amazing.
Well, and it's a risk for you guys.
It always feels that way.
I listened to Dane Cook. He was on a podcast like 3 months ago, and I'm like, I haven't listened to Dane Cook forever. He used to be one of my favorite comedians, but his brother totally hosed him, like stole millions of dollars.
Oh, wow.
But he's like, so he couldn't really get anybody to sign him. And so he just started renting out small arenas with his own money.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, I ended up never turning back because I made way more money
than handing it off to somebody else.
Than hiring a middleman and, you know, a record company or whatever, you know, whoever would represent him, and put that money up and keep the return. But, I mean, it's investing in yourself.
Right.
It's taking a risk. And we see this over and over with the podcasts. Gold Yeller stands out, you know, our Lego buddy. He's, for fun, he was making these stop motion Lego videos of kind of famous. He started with Breaking Bad scene, and then he jumped into it. Excuse me. He did a Tiger Woods, and it just blew up.
Oh, wow.
And so he was just doing something that he loved to do, and it organically turned into, now he gets flown all over the country by the NBA teams, PGA, NASCAR. and they hire him to build these stop motion Lego videos that take him, a 20-second shot is like 60 hours, he said.
Yeah,
something
it's like
like
average
that.
of like 50 to 80
It's
hours.
like every
Crazy.
fan,
See, and that's
moving every arm
yeah.
of like 200 little Lego pieces. But
That's incredible.
it's a very similar story because you guys are just doing something like you have day jobs, right? You have normal jobs like everybody else, but you're doing something fun that you love, and all of a sudden, without even really asking for it or maybe even seeking it out, you've got people that want to pay to see you. You got people that want to hire you to come do corporate trainings, and it's like, this is a business. It's the same story with me in barbecue, cooking in the backyard, my wife rolling her eyes at me like, no money.
yeah.
But I was hooked, and here's a restaurant 9 years later. So
I think it's great. And with the Lego thing, that's him. That's authentic. That's something he loves, and that's why it works, and probably why it's so successful. And I think I was talking to a friend about this just a couple weeks ago. When you start out in any of these ventures, for us, it's the videos. You put them out there, and with your dinky little 50 followers, there's people that going, what are they doing? What is this? You know what I mean? Right. Even your friends, that they don't mean any real negativity behind it, but they're kind of looking, it's unproven, and they're going, well, what do you think you're doing? What are you going to be a big star? Like,
You're
what's
so
going
late
on?
to the game.
Exactly.
That's
you're
cute.
gonna claim a piece of the internet now. YouTube's been around for 15 years, and it's natural. We doubt. Everybody's a doubter until it's proven. And I think for us, I was glad that we were just so far away from everyone we knew, because I don't know. Nobody said that to me, but I could feel like people were kind of like, so what's this thing you're doing? They don't want to say it, but I know there were doubts. And so I think you can't let those get to you. We had the luxury of being far away, so we could kind of be in our little bubble in Florida, send it out, and let people take it for what it was.
And people doubted the show that we would sell tickets for our show.
Oh, yeah,
even,
the shows, that was people
so
doubting
it was-
big time,
So
for
we
sure.
kind of doubted, and we're like, okay, hopefully this works.
Yeah, we
Like,
almost didn't do it because
yeah.
people were like, well, I mean, and if we need to like try and share it and post it like to fill it and cover your costs, we'll try. And I'm like, well, dang, you guys don't seem to think we're gonna do very well, And so we've had to just believe in ourselves.
Let's finish
and go,
that story
it's
though.
fine.
We posted it, and Shaun's grandma texted and said, I can't get tickets. It's sold out like after 2 minutes. And we're like,
Whoa.
no,
2
but
minutes
we
after
said,
we put 'em on
Grandma,
sale.
you just don't know how to
I was
use
like,
the computer."
Grandma, you're on the
Grandma,
wrong
that's your
website.
That's
Yeah.
your typewriter.
Like,
Yeah.
Grandma, do you know
Like,
what the internet
come on.
is?
Because she said, can you hold tickets aside for me before the show? And I'm like, it's not necessary. We're
It won't
selling
fill.
900 tickets. It's not going to be a problem. And then she said, it says sold out. And I'm like, you're doing it wrong. And then I load up the website about 7:05, and I'm like, what the heck? This
we
can't
like
be
teared
right.
up. It was pretty. That's probably another surreal moment. It was like, that's incredible.
Because that was
900
leaping
tickets.
to a large venue where we were like 2 shows,
It was
450
so
seats
risky.
each, and we were like, we're not going to sell them all, but like it'll be, we'll work at it.
What was your goal?
We just wanted to, get them each like half full, or something, just
If
so we
that.
could do it. And we just had no idea because we had upped the ticket price. A lot of people that came to our first show came out and said hi and said, hey, we loved the show. We love you guys. Your tickets are too cheap.
They're like, it's embarrassing.
Oh, really?
Because
And
we
we're like,
were
"Oh."
so scared. We just did $12
Right.
a ticket, and we're like, I don't want to risk like not selling them, but anyway, the customers are saying like,
Right.
this was too cheap. And so we upped it, and then we were like, "Ugh, I hope it works." But yeah, that was really exciting at that time for sure.
So in that time,
And Grandma got a seat.
Grandma got.
We
to
got
see-
her
That's
in.
important to mention.
Did she get like a backstage pass? Hopefully.
Yeah.
Always.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Always.
But I love asking this question with people, but it sounds like there's a lot of people who doubted you. Did anyone actually ever come out and try to give you some advice and you didn't listen to it, and you're really happy you didn't listen to it?
I can think of one. I wonder if
Really?
they're listening. I'm not going to
Uh-oh.
say names.
Anonymous.
I feel like I'm answering all the questions.
No,
but if
I
you don't
can't
know what
even
I'm
think
going to
of
say,
any.
you can't answer this
Yeah,
one
go
for
for
me.
it.
So.
Go for it, babe.
There was somebody that told me that it didn't matter whether it was hilarious or not. I just needed to post like every day. And to lower my standard of what was good enough to post to get more content. Basically, it's quantity versus quality, right?
Okay.
And I almost did. I was like, maybe they're right. Just any stupid thing I think of, I'll make it a post and I'll do it. But I just didn't agree. And I was like, I wanted, to your point, Cameron, the people that follow 3 years in to know that they can scroll the whole feed and there's no crap in there.
Right.
Like, it's all, everyone's going to have their favorites or the ones that don't hit for them, but none of it's junk,
Right.
And so I was like, I don't want to have it be like people scroll through and they're like, oh, some of these are stupid. I'm not going to do that, So I'm glad, because now that we've got so many under our belt, I'm glad I can look back confidently at what I put out. I think it's a balancing act, because I don't want to send the message of have paralysis because you're too scared to put it out there until it's perfect, because that's by no means what we did.
At the beginning, we didn't care. We just put whatever we wanted, I thought. But
well, Instagram was 15-second videos. Basically, Instagram used to be what Insta stories are now.
Yeah.
Right.
The video portion of it. And so once it became a minute is when I started getting a little more picky. But yeah, basically the first posts are basically Insta stories, because that's what Instagram was. But I think people listening, I always like to apply it to them rather than us just talking about ourselves. But you got to start putting it out, but you should have an idea what you think is good and form that in your brain. It doesn't have to be concrete, but you'll feel it and stick to that, because I was very close to going, maybe he's right. Maybe I'm not putting out enough, but I think we would have suffered for it and lost people for it.
So who was that?
Yeah, let me just name that right now. That was Shaun Howard.
That guy is
those
a dick.
Howards.
I swear.
Howard Files.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
like
Shaun
those guys.
Howard.
Yeah.
They're on the podcast next week, actually. So how about for you, Nicole?
I'm trying to think.
It's like, are you sure you want to marry Shaun? Like, nothing like that.
There was a few people,
My wife probably
know,
heard
I'd
that
have to
74 times.
I don't think we get a lot of people trying to tell us what to do, especially at this point. And we didn't get a lot of vocal doubters at the beginning. It was just those conversations about what we're doing where friends are trying to be encouraging, but also kind of like, you sure you know what you're doing, bud? Like that kind of thing. And so you could just sense like, okay, you don't think this is going to be...
Misery loves company, man.
Yeah.
Like, they wish they had the balls to do it. And that's...
Right.
That it's just like, hey, if anybody else tries it, I don't think people do it on purpose all the time, but
that's why I say it's not
Just
done.
nervous
It's
for
not
you.
done vindictively or like.
Right.
It's really just done out of sincere doubt, because we all doubt, right? Even we
100%.
doubted what we were doing, and we all look at something and go, well, how's that going to become anything? And sometimes it doesn't, But and I should say, our shows and everything we've done, hugely supportive friends from my improv comedy community. If any of them are listening to this, they're going, shoot, what did I say to Shaun early on in Johnson Files? We didn't get a lot of negative people. We've had huge support. We couldn't do our shows without the team, and so that's the thing, is you need people to be successful, and we've had amazing boosts from other social media people and just my comedy friends being supportive. So, yeah,
Very
everybody
cool.
needs help.
I feel like sometimes negativity is a sign of success. Like if
When
you get
people
some
are being
haters,
negative.
if people
You got to
start-
have them, right?
That's the thing. Like, it's still really hard for me to handle in the restaurant side, just reading reviews and stuff. And
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's got to
that's
be
like,
hard.
I like this place way better. I'm just like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Do you guys read reviews?
Well, we got a message one time telling him about the wig guy.
I don't remember that. We don't get very
Okay,
many.
I'll answer this one too. Here we
We
go.
don't get very many negative comments.
We really
honestly.
don't. We get
This
a
is
lot of good
probably
ones.
One of two.
Right.
But this one guy, after we had done like 2 or 3 of the wig videos, and I never thought I was going to do these videos with the wig. It's just those were our biggest videos, and people related. And so I was
Right.
like, let's just keep doing them. They like them. But he said, hey, just letting you know, like, I'm going to be unfollowing because I used to like what you did, but now you do these videos with the wig, and I just think you should go back to what you were doing before. The wig things just don't really work. And I was just kind of like, okay.
But he was like a 20-year-old college boy. Like, we're like,
Yeah.
sorry, our audience is like,
Yeah, you're not my
stay-at-home
audience.
moms. So
Seriously.
we cater
I
to
just
the audience.
responded and said, thanks for the feedback, but unfortunately, all the response would say the opposite of that.
Right.
I just,
People are so funny. Like, oh, Cameron, this potato salad's good, but my grandma has a recipe
We should
that
call
I
her.
will totally email you. You should try it. I'm like, you basically said that you don't like my potato salad, that yours is better, and you want me to serve it. Like,
That is
people are
so
so
funny.
weird.
well, and it's just like, it's okay because everybody has their taste in the
Right.
restaurant business. I love Jerry Seinfeld. He's a comedic idol of mine.
Right.
There's some people that don't like him, and I can't understand that.
Yeah.
But they don't like him.
Like,
That is
and
a tough
stupid,
one.
but
You
to
pick any,
understand.
and with comedy and entertainment, we all have our favorite shows and our favorite actors, and other people will be on Twitter saying that they're the worst actor in history, right? So I don't
True.
take it personally, but I do find it surprising that people would look at it and feel the need
we'll take the time to
to
message.
coach.
Yeah.
Like
What?
taking the time,
Just
like,
silently unfollow, please.
like
Yeah.
in what
Just press
world
the
is
button
it?
and be
It's
gone with your
weird.
day.
It is
Like,
surprising.
You're
I just
gonna
kind
miss
of let
me
it
when
go.
I'm
but-
gone. Basically, is what he was saying.
It is
I don't
so
know.
straight. Like, I would never go up to somebody and just say, like, you know, if you just cook that hamburger a little different, you could really have something special here. What's that saying? Like, if you're not bleeding in the arena with me,
The Brene Brown.
is that what it is?
Yeah.
You know, shut up.
Then keep your mouth
I
shut.
don't,
yeah.
I'm sure she was more eloquent
Yeah.
than
It's like,
that.
if you're
I like
not
that
in the arena
better.
with me, your opinion doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that's
I mean,
powerful.
that's totally true because, I mean, unless you take the risk. Because, I mean, it's got to be nerve-wracking. Opening a business, starting a business, getting up on stage, right? It's all, that's hard. It's
mean,
hard.
You're putting
It's
yourself out
scary.
there.
Yeah.
You're risking that you're gonna fail
Right.
in front of people, and you probably will. We've had videos that it was embarrassing because we're like, nobody's commenting on this one. Like, what's going on? And so you just got to be willing to do that. You know, that's an improv. If you haven't fallen on your face 100 times, then you haven't been on stage enough. You know, that's just how it goes. You're
Well,
you're
right.
going to fail, and anybody that goes in protecting themselves from that failure is never going to get good.
You won't grow.
Because they're never going to put themselves in uncomfortable positions. They're just going to stick to what they know, and they'll never get better.
Right.
I'm always surprised. Every guest, they can be such different stories. I mean, improv to Kim with cancer to business, but they're all the same. You know, being
Yeah.
okay with failing. I mean, there's so many of these principles that cross all of them, right? About just having confidence in yourself and putting yourself out there and being okay with it and just doing it.
Taking risks.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's always so surprising at the end. It's like, oh yeah, that totally. I can
it's
apply that
crazy.
to whatever you want to apply it to,
Right.
right?
There's so many parallels
Yeah.
with everybody that's been in front. We've had a couple, like we've had the Kafusi brothers. They're in the NFL. And it's like Jerem and Spence, the BYU Sports Nation. So we've had all the from Kim to the Lego guy to comedians. Like,
To the
but there
Howards.
is so
To the
many.
Howards.
Yeah, to
So
the
many
Howards.
parallels.
Well, you guys will meet the Howards next week. My wig will be here on Tuesday. So
Will you
we'll-
please do a
but
video of the Howards just for us?
then no one's gonna let me
Wheels
live
are
it down.
turning. The wheels are turning.
But it's funny because you're never going to be mad about growing a little bit thicker skin. You know, like you learn from failure. You learn more from failure than anything else. I mean, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your job, whether, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you said it. If you haven't failed enough, you haven't been on stage long enough,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
You got to have that. I think it's weighing the risk, right? Ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? You know, if you're about to take your nest egg and throw it into something before you've even formulated it, maybe not, but let things go at the right pace while you push forward and just be authentic to yourself, I think. Because Gary Vee talks about that. He's like, I'm
Right.
not saying quit your job today. Like, as long as you can keep it and do this,
Right.
do it. But also be willing to, like, keep stepping forward even when it feels like you have
Right.
opposition. And, I think if you're real about it and you don't overshoot, you're good. Just
Yeah.
stick to
Right.
what you can do now to make it move forward.
Yeah. Learn from mistakes. I mean, if you make one, you just learn from it and try something different.
So, what are you guys excited about? What's next? Like, what's exciting?
I think it's just exciting to be here. I don't know, to
Yeah,
be
it's
where
fun
all
to just,
our
see.
followers are. I mean,
Yeah,
80%
we're mostly
Utah.
Utah
So.
based, so it's fun to just like meet people and
What are you
connect with
excited about,
people.
like business wise, that we have coming up? Or
Is there anything new or different that you guys want to do with the channel or with your,
Whether it's more coaching, more
right.
shows.
is it the corporate side? Is
Are you
it
going to bring in other like actors into the
Netflix special?
yeah.
Yes.
I can't wait. It's
Well,
gonna
you
happen.
answer for you.
Hey, I want everyone to record this. I want you to hear it. It's going to happen.
You
How
called it.
cool!
Netflix?
How cool
Called
will
it.
I
Oh
look
my goodness.
in 6 months? When,
6 months.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Hey, you never know.
Tight
You never
time.
know.
You never know. That is true.
You never know. But I could totally see it happening.
Yeah, meeting people we love. We're super excited about our upcoming show next month, which is in the Covey Center, and it's the biggest
That's our
show we've
biggest
ever
one
done.
yet.
Is
Yeah.
it sold out?
The
Not quite.
the later show is pretty full. We opened a matinee at 3 p.m. and that one, I didn't look today, but it's probably a little over half full. So I think it'll get there.
So how can people find it that are listening if they want to come check you guys out? Where do they go?
JohnsonFiles.com always has the link to the most recent tickets, whatever venue it's at, and it'll shoot you over there. It's also got the corporate training stuff and everything on there. I think we're excited to expand all of that part of it, be able to do shows more frequently and be here to make them even better. I do have people that I have not had in shows before that I want to fly in and do it. And now that we're doing bigger venues, we have more money to put into them, we can do that, you know.
Who's your dream guest? If there's
Jerry Seinfeld,
let's manifest this right now.
If there's one person that you would like,
he's going to start drinking coffee. Get on that show.
Jerry Seinfeld, or who is it?
I don't know if Jerry does improv, honestly. A lot of stand-up comedians have this thing about improv where they're like,
he does his is
improv.
like,
he doesn't like improv?
I don't think so. I think he is like crazy prepared on all of
Everything's
this.
so thought out.
Yeah, I mean,
with
it's a different animal. I don't think a lot of improvisers have an issue with stand-up, but I feel like stand-up people a lot of times are like, improv, you guys don't even plan what you're going to do. But
you guys are like naturally funny.
If I could get people from the improv world, like someone from Whose Line Is It Anyway, to come guest, I think that would be huge
cool.
accomplishment. So, you know, if we can do enough large event style shows that it catches somebody's eye, you know, you never know. It's a community, improv people, so you never know, it might get around.
But I feel like comics, and I guess there's a difference between the two, but I was listening to Whitney Cummings the other day, and she was saying that she goes to like a little club in Burbank to work out her material. Like, I feel like there's a lot of comics that sometimes they want to go do smaller, off the beaten path things, not even just for practice, but just to so I teach barbecue.
Back to their roots almost.
So I teach barbecue classes, and one of my favorite things about it is being around people that were just like me like 9 years ago.
Yeah, for
just
sure.
stoked about barbecue. Like they're so into it, and they're watching YouTube videos, and there's just kind of an energy about it. And so I would think for a famous improv person, like somebody that's kind of up and coming and doing something a little different, it's like, man,
They'd
you don't
enjoy
have to
that,
pay me a lot of money. Like, this would be fun. Let's do it. And so you just never know. Because
it's true.
You never know where they are in their journey. Shaun.
We had, actually, that reminds me, because our last show we did have, I posted a video where I mentioned Lindsay Arnold from Dancing with the Stars, and she ended up getting tagged a lot in it. And then, I mean, I never thought when I just threw her name out in the video, anything would come of it. And our last show, we opened it with a dance together.
With her?
With her.
I saw that video.
Yeah.
I saw it last night.
And we did a whole... No, I didn't know her. It came from Instagram.
Was Nicole jealous?
Oh, I don't know.
I want to know.
My dream come true.
Oh yeah, she's a huge fan. So she was like, this is
a hot blonde dancing with your husband. I'd be like glancing at my wife, just like every move.
No, we made a little
She's
spoof
awesome.
Dancing with the Stars video to intro it, and then we did a dance, and I just remember that.
My acid reflux.
Like, yeah, you saw it.
Because
my acid reflux.
If you've seen Dancing with the Stars, they like make fun, or they don't.
They always have those dramatic moments where somebody sprains their ankle.
I think I broke it. It's like, okay.
It's usually a legitimate injury.
My acid reflux. That was so good. I gotta go drink my acid reflux.
So that was just surreal when we got here, and now we've collaborated with Lindsay Moore. I did an improv training with her and her sisters for their upcoming video blog on YouTube. Yeah, and fun. So I was still just like, man, look at who you can connect with. It's a small world online if you're putting good stuff out there. And
and if you're not scared to mention it. Like
to throw it out, It's like, so I was catering, Discovery is shooting a show up in Bluffdale. That's who I was catering for. And it's, I don't know how old you guys are, but Nitro Circus, like Travis Pastrana and all those guys. Street Bike Tommy, who's a part of the show, 3 years ago, he followed me, and I was all like, and I screenshotted it, posted it, and a year later, he was living in my basement learning how to do barbecue. And to this day, who would have thought, right?
It's great. Like, you never ever know.
That's why I go back to just be open to opportunities, because a lot of them won't pan out. You know, I've shot messages out to people I've been tagged in their videos, other Instagram comedians, and I haven't gotten a reply.
Sure.
And that's okay, you know, but you never know. They might, you know, it could happen. And so there's no harm in hearing something out or seeing where it could go. And then if it doesn't work, you pursue another avenue.
Well, and you think of like Kim White. Did you see that video 2 days ago where a woman with her exact same form of cancer, right? She's had 7 surgeons try and fail and just said
Wow.
it's inoperable.
Yeah.
And today, I think, or yesterday, her
Yesterday.
doctor is operating on
Dr.
this
Z.
woman
Kim's
from
doctor, yeah,
Kim's
Oh,
doctor,
the same
Dr. Z,
yeah.
is operating on this woman from Seattle. And the whole reason it happened was because of Instagram.
Connected on there.
She found Kim on Instagram, started watching her videos, and now, I mean, this woman's life can be saved.
Yeah.
Where 7 surgeons from all over the country said nothing we can do.
It's incredible.
That's
And so
that's the
it's
stories
crazy.
that
If
give you
that's
hope
real,
for social
if they
media.
find
right?
each other on Instagram, that blows my mind.
It's real.
No,
like
that
she
is.
she
Oh, yeah,
did
it's
a whole
totally real.
Insta story
Yeah.
about it the
No,
day
like,
before yesterday.
if he gets it, though,
Oh,
is what I'm
right,
saying.
right, right.
Oh,
yeah,
if she-
yeah.
yeah.
If it's a successful
Right.
surgery,
Right.
What a
and
story,
because
right?
of Instagram.
I know. You hear
Crazy.
about those stories
Oh my
though. It's-
God.
it
And
is crazy.
there's so many negative things associated with
Right.
with Instagram and social media that's the stuff that we love to hear. And it's scary when your business is based in Instagram and you start to see all these people like boycotting it and doing fasts from it. It's like, on one hand, you're like, I
It's
get
true.
it.
Like
Because-
President Nelson, please be
prophet
quiet.
said-
Right. Thanks
Hey,
a lot.
Hey, we did
You
do
are
the
hurting
fast.
our tithes.
Nobody watch conference.
No, that happened during our show in October, and Sean's like,
Oh
"Wait,
yeah,
so
we were
he
selling
just
tickets
said
to our
that?"
first show, and he made everybody go on an Instagram
Relief
fast.
You're like, I'm fasting from tithing then for a month.
Sean was upset.
I was like, what poor timing. We're making this big risk, and he gets all. I mean, we got
All
an
the women.
80% women following, and they're all off Instagram. Like, you got to be kidding me.
You know none of them did it.
But you
just
know-
like me saying I'm real fasting. I may tell you I am, but nope.
Right.
I've got marshmallows in my pocket or something.
Marshmallows.
I don't know why I said marshmallows. I don't even really like marshmallows.
You got your pocket meat.
My pocket meat. It's a long story, but
No, but I think there's so much negative, and so I get why that happens.
Sure.
People are like, I'm off social media, but I think it's all what you make of it, right? The internet, every tool can be used for different things,
Right.
good or evil, and I think if you use it like that type of a story, just makes you go, okay, there's a great benefit to this ability to connect
For sure.
across the internet. It's just, it can also invade our lives and become an issue. So it's
Best of
just,
times and the worst of times, right?
and it's
Oh,
just like
sure.
anything. You're right. Like it's just like anything.
Yep.
I mean, even when it was just radios.
even if it was
You
barbecue
could find
brisket.
Exactly.
You can't
There-
have it 3 meals a
Not-
day, right?
you
Well, maybe
can't.
you can. I don't
Well,
know.
it's not working for me. So I'm learning. But no, you're right. I mean, you can find good and evil in anything. Gary Vee said that. Did you hear that thing about the kaleidoscope?
Yeah.
He said basically everything that people are saying that is bad about being on social media, whether it's causing like mental illness and all this stuff, go back and look at the first reviews of kaleidoscopes. And they sound almost word
Almost
for
the
word,
same.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
like what people are saying negative about social media.
Wow.
Isn't that really funny? So it's just like every new
It's just
medium
a
that
thing,
comes
yeah.
out that we really attach to.
Interesting.
Gary Vee says it brings out, right? It
doesn't-
exposes.
Yeah, it doesn't create it. It exposes
It
you.
exposes your
Right.
weaknesses. It exposes your addictive whatever. Like it's not necessarily social media's fault.
Yeah. You got to choose how you use it.
For sure.
And that's it. Like to be happy. Like, to your point, Andrew, I heard something on my mission. The guy said, "To be happy is hard work. Like you have to work to be happy. You have
Sure.
to work at it.
It's easy
To
to
be
fall
miserable,
into
all you got to
it.
do is
Action.
sit around
Yeah, yeah.
and do nothing.
For sure.
Yep.
And so I think that's applicable to almost everything.
Yep.
So
Well, guys, we're going to wrap up. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank
Thanks
you
So,
for
guys.
having us.
everyone,
Dude.
check out the Johnson Files and the Howard Files.
yeah,
Yes.
coming.
Up and
TBD.
coming.
I'm going to get that domain here
All
in
the
about 10
rejects.
minutes. I'm going to give it to him for Christmas.
We'll send you all of our reject videos, and you can post them on the Howard Files.
Hey, we'll be on your beta team if you ever want to run something by us.
We
do.
We have
We
people.
I
have a
want to
text
bring
message.
it on the
Bring
beta,
it to
beta
us.
team.
God.
Yes,
Please.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I am slightly easily entertained. I will warn you.
Which maybe that's mine. Maybe that
But-
someone advised us not to post one and we did it and it ended up being like viral. I don't know which video it was, but that's probably one of mine is that we didn't listen to them and we posted it. But one of the videos.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, your thing that you're glad you didn't
Yeah,
listen
yeah.
to. Yeah.
Because
That took a minute, but
Yeah, yeah.
you know, better late than
No,
never.
no, but the mom watch too. Sorry, we're wrapping up. Let's wrap.
No, we don't.
No, but the mom watch, which is now a huge thing, we get posted mom watches like all day long.
What's mom
We act-
watch it? Wait,
The
what?
mom watch.
The
like,
kids saying,
watch
"Mom,
this."
watch,
Oh,
mom,
yeah,
watch."
Okay, I was like,
We've
what's
done like
mom
4
watch?
of
Is
them
this
now.
like neighborhood
Yeah,
watch?
yeah. The mom
Okay,
watch.
sorry.
Yeah. It sounds like that. But we actually made it, and that was one where we're like, we don't even know if this is funny because Shaun did it growing up, but he posted.
We don't have
he
kids,
sent it
so
to
we're
his
like,
brother.
"Is this even?"
Yeah,
thing.
he said to his brother and was like, "Is this even funny? Is this even relatable? We may not even post it." And his brother was like, "I mean, it's funny to me. Like my kids do it." And we're like, "Okay."
100%.
And then it just blew up. So anyway,
The first time I watched a mom watch video, it was my 3-year-old was just like, "What, Dada, watch." Totally one leg, like she jumped on one leg. And
It's
did it
powerful
like
stuff.
14 times. She's just like so stoked that she did it. And every kid does it.
It's way more relatable than we thought. We could create a whole Instagram account of the videos we've been sent of that. We probably have thousands.
We've created a highlight bubble.
Yeah,
of
there is a
stories,
highlight bubble on our
yeah.
Instagram of Mom Watch of some of our favorites we've been sent
Which
from people.
includes your daughter's trick. That's actually a common
is
trick
that on
that
there?
people do. Not
Really?
your
Like
daughter,
the one-legged
People
jump?
doing it.
but people love that one-legged jump.
Well, next time she goes cross-eyed on purpose, I'll send that one to you. It's like, Dad, watch.
So funny.
That's
Anyway.
amazing. Man, this was so much fun. Thank you guys for coming.
It was
thanks for
fun.
having
Thanks,
Really,
guys.
really cool to have you before you guys get really, really famous and don't respond to our messages.
We're gonna ask them to come back, and they're like, "No."
I got to be honest. Like, Nicole, you and I met for, I mean, it's not like we really got to talk down there.
Yeah.
I mean, we were sharing a journey together,
Right.
of course,
It was
at the
surreal.
Bachelorette final or finale.
Passionate,
But
most dramatic journey
It-
ever.
ever.
Hey, it kind of
Bachelor in Paradise, though, is just destroying it. It's
that's a whole-
amazing.
You need a
Amazing.
podcast about that.
But you guys responded super fast, and that was very, very nice of you guys.
Of course.
I think I
Yeah.
DM'd them, and the next day we're like, "We'd love to.
Yeah.
What day works?" I'm like, "Oh." And ever since, my wife's like, "Will you ask him about tickets? Ask him about tickets." I'm like, "We'll
That's
buy
why
tickets,
we're really
honey.
here.
We'll buy tickets. Don't worry."
come in with Shaun's grandma,
She
it's
is so excited. Yeah. Beta team backstage passes.
The beta team. We're gonna make a shirt.
Beta team Howard Files. I'm gonna put all over my shirt. So totally distract you. But thank you guys for coming. This was such a great
fun.
story. And anytime you want to come back. Thanks for being here, you guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's great.